Hello, Flyers fans, and welcome to PHLY Flyers. My name is Bill Matz, and I am joined today by Philly's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor. We are, of course, presented by our friends at Bet365 and your local Ford store, and we're doing a little something different today. We are going to be honoring and remembering Bernie Parent, Flyers legend, who passed away at 80 years old. Yesterday, it was Sunday, September 21st, and I think it hit all of us pretty hard because we were all just with Bernie pretty recently. He was at the draft party. I saw him at a Joe Conklin comedy show back in July. It's always hard to say, like, oh, it came out of nowhere. It's like 80, but 80's not 120,
Yeah.
you know? Like, it all kind of, it just sort of happened. Like, oh, and he's one of those guys that you just thought, like, he's 80, but he's not. He's Bernie. He's a freaking legend.
And I think it was also that he was still so active.
He was out and about.
You were still seeing him. From what I understand, I wasn't there, but he was in attendance this weekend for Ray Didinger was unveiling a play, and Bernie was there for a Q&A. So maybe it would have been less shocking if Bernie Parent had been, mostly out of the public eye for 10 years, and then you hear he passed away. But he was out and about. He was there. He was an active part of the Flyers community, like literally until the day he died.
No, and that was I spoke about it briefly on Philadelphia this morning, and that I said he exemplified what it was to be a Flyers alumni.
Yeah.
Like out and about, accessible, jovial. He came to the draft party just showing off the rings. Like, that's how he walked through the whole place, with his fists out so you could see his rings. And I think it's important we do. And this was Kelly and I got to spend some time with Bernie at the draft party. He sat down and spoke with us. That jacket is so freaking cool. I want that jacket.
It's a great jacket.
But I thought Charlie and I both thought it would be a really great idea to just talk about Bernie today. And the legacy he leaves here in Philadelphia, because he lives forever as a Philadelphia Flyer. So I'm going to get to some of that today. I hate this. I'm unable to be emotional without it actually coming out, but we'll get through it. I'm fine. Listen, plenty of people knew Bernie a lot better than I did. Born April 3rd, 1945 in Rosemont, Quebec. He grew up idolizing Jacques Plante, and that's pretty awesome that he eventually got to be teammates with him when they both came together in Toronto as members of the Maple Leafs. And it was kind of around that time where his career really started to take off. He was really good with the Leafs, and then little contract dispute, which is very funny. There's on today's 32 Thoughts, they kind of outlined what the contract dispute was.
So they were like,
and what the offer was, and it was one thing, and then all of a sudden it was way less. And he was like, "No, I'm just going to the WHA. I'm not doing this." And he was the first player. I know he was the first like high profile player, but I think he was the first player overall to make the jump from the NHL to the WHA, and had a contract dispute immediately there, and ended up with a different team. Ends up with the Philadelphia Blazers. How cool is Philadelphia Blazers stuff?
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
The red and yellow is so ugly that it's like, this is actually awesome. But then he comes back to the NHL, does not want to play for the Leafs, and that's where we pick up his career in Philadelphia, Charlie. And you, in your article yesterday, laid out how good he was as a freaking player in those 2 seasons when he first comes back and they win the Cups. Abso-freaking-lutely unbelievable how good he was for a franchise that has always been searching for a goaltender. It's no reason when we get someone who's okay, we're like, oh, he's not good. It's because the best ever played here for at least a couple of years. Those 2 seasons, especially the 73, 74.
Like, the numbers are...
You've never seen anything like these metrics.
Yeah, it's bonkers. And to be clear, he was a good goalie.
He was good.
He was a good goalie before this. He was good in Philadelphia. You know, he played for a team that wasn't winning a ton because it was an expansion team.
They were no good, yeah.
And whenever they played an original 16, they're probably going to lose. But you're talking about a guy who, you know, at 22, he had throws up a 926 save percentage, at 23, 925, at 24, 921. Then he goes to Toronto, and then he has that brief period with the Blazers. But he comes back to Philly, and that really, it's the 2 seasons. In those 2 seasons, he wins 2 Vezinas, 2 Conn Smythes. But the 73-74 season, it is bonkers at how good he was. Because I feel like the people who lived through it know. Like the people you talk to people who were kids in the 70s, who were adults in the 70s, who were diehard Flyers, who became diehard Flyers fans, and they'll speak in hushed tones when you bring up Bernie in those seasons. But for us, for the ones who were not alive when Bernie Parent was tending gold in the mid-70s, these numbers should speak to just how ridiculous he was. Like, played 73 games. Now, guys were playing 73 games, you know, low 70s up until the, you know, early to mid 2000s regularly. Yeah. But the 28th largest minutes workload in NHL history. So we're talking about a guy who was essentially playing every night. He wasn't getting breaks.
73 games was it a 76 game schedule back then? I want to say
that's a good point. I don't even remember if I checked how many games the Flyers played that year, but I can check very quickly.
I just remember it wasn't always 80 or 82. I think it was like 76.
It was it looks like it was 78.
78.
So he only played. He missed 5 games. He only did not play in 5 games.
I would like to know how they decided which of the 5 games. Like, it had to be like like 3 in a row weekend or something. Like, I want to know how they decided, oh, tonight is one of the 5 out of 78 that you're not going to play, which is just absolutely freaking incredible.
But he wins 47 games. He puts up a 932 save percentage, 1.89 goals against average. This is the one that really should explain just how good this season was, this season in particular. So Hockey Reference has a metric. It's GSAA. It's called goals saved above average. Now, obviously, this doesn't account for things like shot quality because it was the 70s. We didn't even have shot quality stats until like the late 2000s.
A couple of years ago.
What it essentially does is it takes the league average save percentage that year and then looks at how many goals above that league average save percentage, accounting for the save percentage the goalie had and the amount of games he played.
Number of games and shots faced.
Exactly, and shots faced. How many goals he saved above that league average. 72.7 goals saved above league average. Like, that's an eye-popping number, even without reference to everything else. It's the highest single season number in recorded NHL history. No goalie has come out better in a single season by this stat than Bernie Parent did in 1973, 1974.
And just look at 72.7, so 73 goals. He played 73 games.
Yeah.
Every game he played, he stopped one more goal than he should have.
Yep. He was good for one goal that should have been a goal. He was good to stop that every single game.
So every 1 goal game that they won should have been a tie or a loss.
Right.
Like, that's basically what it comes down to his entire season. It's absolutely incredible. And of course, caps it off, wins the Vezina, wins the Conn Smythe.
As good as his save percentage was in the regular season, then he goes up against playoff caliber opponents and is even better. 933 save percentage.
And the 2 shutouts, one of course coming in Game 6 against the Boston Bruins. And I think he told us this story, but it was I think originally he told it in like an Inquirer article years ago. Brenna, you might have heard him if he told us this story at the draft party when they're clinching in the first one with Gene Hart making the Flyers are going to win. The Flyers win.
Yeah.
Seconds winding down.
Oh, the Bobby Orr story.
Bobby Orr rips a shot from like the other side and he's not paying attention. He's watching the clock.
He's looking up at the clock. Yeah.
And he's like, if it was on net, it's going in. It's 1-1. We're going to overtime.
Yeah.
And no, it misses. And so the legend of the Broad Street Bullies is really born that day. And he caps it off with a shutout. And the following year, a shutout again in the clinching game. Just the most. I like that, like, you were able to use the metrics for the numbers, that someone even went back and like looked into it and put it together, because goalie numbers change all the time.
Yeah.
like, okay, we can kind of put into perspective. Yeah, man, Gretzky had 92 goals. Does anyone ever? Okay, that's a different era. But like goaltending play, okay, was it supposed to be 915? Was it supposed to be 900? Like, not while you and I have been doing this, the average save percentage has dropped 15 points. Like, we don't actually know what the numbers like. It's just hard to put into
Yeah,
context. And
yeah.
so with a little bit of the metrics and stuff, you go, oh, okay, it's the best ever. So regardless of, I don't know, what was the save percentage supposed to be, you go, oh, highest ever. That's really easy to
Yeah,
understand.
and in all honesty, like looking at the numbers, it's not the league average save percentage then is not that different from what it is right now. It was a little under 900. Connor Hellebuck last year won the Vezina, and I think was a like slam dunk, like he was going to win it.
He won it in the first half of the season.
Yeah, he finished with a 925 save percentage, so 7 points lower than Bernie had, and played in 10 fewer games. So Bernie basically had the Connor Hellebuck season on steroids, and then went out in the playoffs, unlike Hellebuck, and was even better.
Unlike Hellebuck, like unlike Aguilar. I like
Unlike
that.
Aguilar.
That's good stuff. Between the two regular seasons, the 73, 74, 74, 75, and those two playoffs, 30 shutouts, Charlie. 12 in each regular season, 4 in one playoff, 2 in the other.
Wow.
That's I, I don't know if I've seen 30 Flyers shutouts in my lifetime.
Honestly,
Since then. Like, it's insane how good this guy was. And you see the repeat season.
He follows it up, and
Just another Vezina and another Smythe.
Yeah, like maybe not the greatest season of all time, but like a truly elite season where he again wins both the Vezina and the Conn Smythe. Again, is great in the playoffs, as you said. Again, closes out the Cup final with a shut. Like that to me, you won 2 Stanley Cups and you were perfect in both clinching games.
Yeah,
you did a perfect job.
That's earlier this summer. It was only a few weeks ago. We did the best player for each number in Philly sports history. And listen, Bernie played a long time ago. So a lot of people were like, Jalen Hurts isn't even part of the conversation at number 1. And he could get there.
He could.
He's on his way.
Yeah.
Sure. But this is his this is his follow-up. This is the sequel season. His sequel, which, listen, it ain't The Godfather 2. Sequel's never as good. He does it again. He does it. Best goalie and playoff MVP and a shutout in the clincher. I don't know what else. That's as high as a goalie can go.
Yeah.
I really don't know if goalies were even like considered for the Hart back then.
Well, no, they were.
Okay.
So looking at it, and honestly,
this is very easy to do.
It's very
easy
easy
to
do.
Hockey Reference.
So Bernie, in the first of those 2 years, he finished second in the Hart voting, and then in the second of those 2 years, he finished fourth. Probably could have made a strong case he could have won it both years. But he was
wild.
Very much in the mix. Phil Esposito won in 74, and then Bob Clark won in 75.
I was going to say, Clark, he definitely won one of these, right?
Yeah.
And that's probably pretty difficult to beat your teammate. The fact that they had 2 guys in the top 4, it's like, because you always, they'll split the vote. And no, they were just equally awesome in different ways. Clark, he has 116 points, and Bernie wins 44 of his 68 games. That's pretty special right there.
And one point that my dad, because my dad did grow up.
This you said earlier, and this is really interesting.
My dad did grow up watching the Broad Street Bullies. He grew up, he was a teenager in that era. And he's always told me this. He's like, the one thing that, if anything, it gets undersold when you're talking about Bernie Perron. The Broad Street Bullies were a team built on intimidation. They were a team built on occasionally stepping over the line to dirty play. They were a team that was willing to cross the line because they felt like it was going to pay dividends for them later in games, later in seasons, in the playoffs. That was their entire brand. You know what happens when you play that way? You take a lot of penalties. And if you don't have a great goalie to be able to hold down the fort when you're taking all those extra penalties and you're spending all that time in the penalty box, down a man, down 2 men, whatever, you're going to lose a lot of games. So even setting aside these great numbers on their own, imagine how many quality, and like, I'm not saying the Flyers weren't a great defensive team. They were a great team. They were not just a bully team. But he was facing a lot more power plays than the average goalie, and he was still putting up not just great numbers, but like maybe best of all time numbers, which should put into context, like, yeah, he was playing in front and behind a very, very good defensive team that was committed to, to making life as easy as they possibly could for Perron. But all those extra power plays must not have been easy.
Yeah, I'm trying to, there's only so much. There's only so much reporting of like power play stuff back then, and
there's only so much reporting. Period.
Yeah, there's only so much statistic. I was trying to see like all I'll say is the Flyers gave up the second fewest goals in the league over those 2 years, and it seems as if they had a bad penalty kill, considering
yeah
they're shorthanded regularly, that would not be the case.
You would think. Right?
And I think the team with the fewest only played one of those 2 seasons, if I'm looking at it right. But yeah, so it goes without saying how great Bernie was on the ice. But I do think like he's a legend. He won the cups. But when you actually look at the numbers, it's somehow maybe him being a character and him being like the ultimate alumni and being this just fun, awesome dude, it gets lost that he was just as good as Bobby Clarke. He was just as good, if not better, than like Barber and all the other guys who Bernie is one of the first names you think of, but it's the guys who score. It's the bullies. It's Dave the Hammer. But no, it really is the goaltending.
No, and I was able to dig up the numbers. So league average power play opportunities, like, to face, so I guess shorthanded opportunities, the league average in 73-74 was 257. That's what the league average team faced. That Flyers team faced 422. So 170 more power plays than the average team they were facing off against.
It's pretty good.
And Bernie's like, nah, it's cool. I'm gonna put up the best save percentage in hockey. I'm gonna play basically every night, and I'm gonna do the same thing in the postseason. It's bonkers.
It's almost unbelievable. Like his peak is only so long. So I guess we like Marty, he's in the cup. He's in the East final in 94 and is in another cup final in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a long, long period that he's Marty Brodeur. Hasek wins the cups in Detroit after the Hart trophies and everything, and Buffalo keeping that terrible team afloat, getting them to a cup final. So I guess he can't be like, oh yeah, he's the best ever, but his peak could easily be considered, oh yeah, it's like him and Hasek.
Yeah.
It's just one was a little shorter than the other.
There's a little bit, if we're talking about cross-sport comparisons, there's a little bit of like Sandy Koufax, where like Koufax had good years, but when he was at his best, when he had that run of like 4 or 5 years,
he just never lost.
It was just like you went up and you're facing Sandy Koufax and you're like, well, we're going to lose today.
It was just,
and I feel like that probably was the feeling for teams facing the Flyers. It was like, oh God, we have to face this friggin' team. But also, even if we can like get past them beating the crap out of us, then we have to fool this dude.
We have to take what they dish out, get ourselves on the power play, and then hope to score against an unstoppable brick wall.
Yeah.
It's pretty freaking impressive when you really just look at the numbers, how great this guy was. And it almost gets lost because he's so important in his post-playing career too.
Yeah, I want to talk about just like Bernie, we just broke down what he did on the ice, but there's also just a feeling of him being larger than life. And I think that's something that I wouldn't say it's unique to him, but maybe it's unique to Flyers history in that it just felt like Bernie was a mythical figure in a way that the Flyers have had other great players in their history. Obviously, Bobby Clarke, Bill Barber. Then you're even going to the 80s. You obviously have Eric Lindros. Claude Giroux has been great. But I don't know if any of them reached the mythic status where you would just hear stories about Bernie.
Yes.
It's not like the fact that the Time magazine cover, that's Bernie's face.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost, in a way, it feels like, looking at that cover now, it's almost like, you're looking at statues of the legendary Greek and Roman gods. You know what I mean?
That's a real guy.
Yeah.
Like that's a
Yeah.
real guy, and it's easy behind the mask and everything to forget. Yeah, that's part of what makes it so above and beyond is that he was the goaltender. And it's such a difficult thing. It's such a thing that we've been looking for so long. And when they're out there, especially at that time, yeah, you can pick out Clarky, he's not
Yeah.
wearing a helmet.
Yeah.
You see these guys and he's behind all that. And then when you meet him, it's like meeting the fanatic out of costume.
Yeah.
To me, that's a creature. I don't even think of the fanatic as a guy in a suit. I think it's a real thing. And then you see him and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're a human being. That's Bernie is you then meet him and go, oh my God, you're the one that they've talked about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's especially for us because I saw him play at the alumni game, but that's it. Never saw him play. It's just he's just a myth. And then you meet the guy and it's it's everything they told me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he had that engaging personality, to be sure. But, even going back to what I just said about, looking at that image on Time Magazine, it's it seems as if it's almost like a Greek or Roman god, immortalized in stone, immortalized in print. But you look at it, what was the classic bumper sticker? Only God saves more than Bernie. I mean, that's what I'm talking about, is that there was just, I feel like in Philadelphia sports culture, Bernie was different. Bernie just, he got elevated to a level where it's just like how lucky are we to have Bernie Perron?
Yeah. And that's, my God, I have seen Super Bowl champion teams honored and then booed. I have seen it happen. And I feel like Bernie never, he was just, he was beloved because of Bob Clark, divisive figure in Flyers history.
He eventually did become a divisive figure. Yeah. Bobby Clark, universally loved. Bob Clark, divisive figure.
Yeah. That doesn't exist with Bernie. It's only just dear God, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. We are going to talk much more about Bernie Perron, but I do have to take our first break. It is upon us, ladies and gentlemen. Hockey season right around the corner. Red October right around the corner. Football, we're already through 3 weeks of pro football. So if you're not watching all of your favorite sports on Xfinity, I don't know what you're doing. Because if you call yourself a sports fan, there's no other answer. It's just Xfinity. It's the ultimate sports destination. You can find all the best games and all your favorite teams all in one place. And the way you watch it is going to be next level. It's the perfect fan flex. I've got all the action right in my living room. Plus, Xfinity's best picture and sound with enhanced 4K is so clear, feels like you're right in the front row. Sometimes you even just got to get 4 games going at once, because why not use the quad box? And on top of that, I'll get real-time notifications and live stats right on my TV. It's the best seat in the house every single time. So next game day, make sure that big fan in your life isn't a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K capable TV box. While we're here, it's time to tell you about that Ford Explorer. It's America's all-time best-selling SUV, and it offers now 3-row seating for up to 7 passengers. It's great for families and road trips. You don't want to be on a road trip without that extra row. You're going to need separation from your friends, or if the kids are fighting, you're going to need to break them up. You need that 3rd row, and it has plenty of storage as well. Up to 87.8 cubic feet of cargo space with the rear seats folded down, and it's packed with Ford Copilot 360, a suite of advanced driver assist features, all on that 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster, which adds a high-tech feel to the driving experience, and it's standard Apple CarPlay and Android across all trims. It's built for families and ready for adventure. It's a true do-it-all SUV. It's the Ford Explorer. What else do you need to know? Well, if you do need more information, visit your local Ford store. All right, yeah, we need to get into it, and we have a bunch of fan submissions we want to get to. We asked for them. We picked a few that we're going to share, because everybody has a Bernie story. If you're a Flyers fan, you've seen him somewhere, you've been to a place he's been at an appearance, you got to be in a luxury box when he was making his rounds there.
Yeah.
Everybody has a Bernie story, so we're gonna get to share a few of those. But Bernie, just as the legend, like you were saying, I think it all really came to a head at that alumni game.
Yeah.
Like an unbelievable experience. Just they bring back Eric Lindros. It's
You
the
were at the
Rangers.
alumni game,
I was
right?
at the alumni
You went
game.
to the game.
It was so
I watched
cool.
it on TV.
Yeah, it was so cool. And like Lindros coming back, that's for me. Like that's for my age group. And just the whole experience. Okay, we're gonna have him and LeClaire out there. But then you see Bernie in the old time pads, and suddenly the whole day became about that.
Yeah.
There was one thing that mattered. Didn't matter that we saw a Lindros and LeClaire connection again. Didn't matter who won, seeing Rona, any of it. It was freaking Bernie, man. And he was good. Now listen, I realize it's an alumni game, and this is what New Year's Eve 2011.
Everybody's having fun.
It's not as if
Yeah.
I don't think like anyone's out there going to rip a one-timer
Sure.
at the 70-year-old man, but he made some saves. He stopped a breakaway.
Stopped a break. Yeah.
He was
Ron
so
Duguay.
good.
He
Yeah.
stopped. Yeah.
He was, and it was
And
just
he's smiling.
he was Bernie, and you could tell how much he appreciated it because he has no idea how it's gonna go.
Yeah, right.
He had to retire at 34 years old.
Yeah.
Like he has the eye injury at 34, and that's it. He had some other injuries before then, but then boom, he almost lost his sight entirely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's now almost 2012, and he's suited up again. It was one of the coolest sports experiences I've ever had. And it's one of those things like the bridging of generations. Like my dad saw Bernie play. He was born in 1960. I never freaking did. I was born 15 years after the Cups were won. Like it was just everyone there. It was Bernie Day.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the cool part about it was, and look, it was 5 minutes in an alumni game. I'm not saying that we got to see anything close to Bernie Parent, hockey legend, goaltending legend, but it was a chance for people of our age,
yes,
to at least get to see something tangible rather than just watching grainy videos on YouTube or whenever, Comcast Sportsnet at the time would air the old games.
Sportsnet Classics.
Sportsnet Classics. Like that's all we had. And then we had the stories and the tales from our parents and our parents' friends and then reading articles about it. Like we had that and we knew that Bernie Parent was Bernie Parent. But we got to see him. We got to see him on the ice, in the pads, and not only got to see him do things, but also got to see just how much he meant to the generation that came before us. We got to see the older people, the people who maybe at that time weren't even that old, but they grew up with Bernie Parent. And we got to see just how much he meant to them. And I think that was really special, speaking as someone who did not get to see Bernie Parent play, who was born, 10 years after he played his last game. We got to see him on the ice, and we got to get a little taste of what maybe that felt to the people who did get to live through Bernie Parent in his peak.
No, and it was really just, it's the reason there are alumni games. Like, and it was just a furthering of the legend of Bernie. Like, again, yeah, was he out there playing in the NHL? No, but they're all retired. Yeah. he was as good as he could possibly be on that day. And I think it just further endeared him. It just was
a link. It was like a link to, to use a video game term, it was like a link to the past.
Yes. No, absolutely. Like, yeah, you can hear the stories all you want, but now you actually get to share that experience.
Yes.
And it's at Citizens Bank Park. It's the outdoor game. It's New Year's Eve. It was just so freaking cool. And yeah, 100% one of the best sports experiences I've ever had, without a doubt. It makes me. It actually, I remember being bitter that like Gretzky and Messier weren't going to do it because Gretzky, I think, said like, who wants to see a 50-year-old man skating around out there or whatever? And it was like, you know what? Good. As much as I would love to see like Gretzky and Messier on the ice, it allowed for the spotlight to be on Bernie and Clarkey and Barber and Lindros.
Yeah, sure.
And like
sure.
the guys who it really, because it was, listen, it's in Philly. There's Rangers fans there, but this was a thing for the Flyers. And it was all made all the more better because freaking Bernie played. Like Hextall couldn't play. Just to just to kind of remind you how, like, I think Hextall was a coach in the game or something like that.
That sounds right.
He had I think a back issue that he's like, no, I can't. Like, I legitimately cannot. And
look, Bernie, I think he was doing his late 60s. I'm sure he had multiple issues that
he did.
He's just like, no, I'll play 5 minutes.
I can give you 5.
I'll give you 5.
Yeah, man.
5 good minutes.
And that's, again, the legend of Bernie. Like, he is like an almost 70-year-old man at that point.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can give you 5 minutes. And it's the only thing I remember from that game.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember is Bernie stopping that breakaway.
Yeah, and like, not to say there weren't other things in that game, but even the other big story of that game, which was the return of Eric Lindros, that was less about the game. And it was more that Lindros was now back in the Flyers family, that they were starting to find ways to get past the old wounds. Like him being on the ice, that was just an added bonus. Like, oh, you get to see 88 flying around. Bernie Perrott being on the ice, that was the cool part about the game.
That's insane. We're talking about a senior citizen,
yeah,
and like that he's playing. And I think like that, his connection to the organization, like they had to bring Lindros back into the fold,
right?
You know, Bernie never left.
Exactly. And that I think is a big part of why he's so beloved.
And he's been visible this whole time. I read today he was the goalie coach when PHLY was here and early Hextall.
Yeah.
And honestly, I never even knew that. I just kind of always thought Bernie was Bernie. That was his job.
His job was to be Bernie.
Go be Bernie, man. And he was awesome. He was so good at being Bernie that I just assumed it was like, no, he actually did coach for a while. He
was the goalie coach.
I don't know how extensive the goalie coaching was back then. I don't think it was. It's the way it is today. But also, those are like the only other good goalies in franchise history. So maybe he had quite a bit of influence over them. It's just really cool that though, like, even if you weren't at that alumni game, even if you never saw him play, you knew Bernie was a freaking Flyer, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the fact that he never left played into it because he was always around. He obviously was with the Ed Snyder Youth Hockey Foundation for years as an ambassador. Yeah. He was always at events. He was at so many games in the concourse. And there was just an approachability element to it where, you knew the other stars were stars, but if you wanted to, you could meet Bernie Perrott.
Yes.
You could go to an event and he was there and he would happily, show you his rings. He would rub his rings on you if you wanted the good luck. That was one of his things, but he was there. He was just always around. And I think that's going to be the tough part for fans is that, there was just kind of a feeling of like, well, Bernie's going to be around forever, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like he's just always going to be smiling with those 2 rings at the draft party, at charity events, at every time they retire somebody's number. Bernie's going to be there.
It feels like any sort of event, whether it was our draft party or Flyers alumni thing. It was, well, Bernie, like, check the Bernie box. We're going to have Bernie.
He'll be there.
Like, it doesn't matter. Bernie's going to be there, so we know we have the people taken care of. Anyone who wants to meet a legend can.
Yeah.
And it's okay, and then we'll get, like, some other people there, too, because we got to fill the seats. Like, there's 9 chairs out here. Bernie can't sit in all of them. But it was 100%, like, this is the thing. Like, Bernie is going to always, like you said, he'll always be around, and he was so proud to be a Flyer.
Yeah.
I think that's what it really came down to, is he wanted you to approach him. He didn't mind the recognition either. Like, I asked him at the draft party, in 76, if you're healthy, they win, right? He goes, he was almost offended I asked him.
Obviously.
Almost offended that I asked him. And this is a team that got swept.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why? Next question.
Yeah,
wanted
the
recognition, but also was just so proud to be a Flyer. Like, wanted to carry the Ed Snyder mission of it being like a community team on.
Yeah,
and he really took that seriously.
Yeah, and I think too, and this, I don't want to dwell on negatives. Certainly not about Bernie, but I think another reason why he does, because I put in my article, I would consider him to be the most universally beloved figure in Flyers history, setting aside Ed Snyder, because Ed Snyder was on a different level because he literally created the team. But the fact that Bernie Perrott never like, to use Bob Clark as a comparison. Bob Clark became a general manager. Bob Clark then, you could have reasons to be frustrated with Bob Clark, the manager. Whereas Bernie Perrant, like, he never was tied to the failure of a team that he built. He was never a coach who got fired the way that Bill Barber did. There was never anything like that. He stopped playing. He was goalie coach for a bit, was mentor to Pelle Lindbergh before he passed away, coach Ron Hextall. But then he just became Bernie Perrant, guy who embodies being a Flyer and is so accessible to the fans in a way that, I'm not saying that the other alumni are in like an ivory tower, but they weren't as like ubiquitous as Bernie Perrant was.
Yeah.
As easily accessible. And it wasn't like he got tied to anything bad. It was just that, yeah, you're an event, you'll see Bernie.
He was, and so
it was unique.
You would run into him. It wasn't just at Flyers events. Like, I know countless people who were like, yeah, man, I hung out with Bernie in Sea Isle all the time.
Yeah.
Like, he was just around. He was like the fans.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, man, I love the Flyers. I vacation in Sea Isle. Like, I just go out on my boat and have a good time. And I want to just enjoy being Bernie Perrant.
Enjoy being really part of the Flyers community. It wasn't like Bernie was never like, I want to be running the Flyers community.
Yeah.
It's just, I just want to be a part of the Flyers community.
He was just there.
And again, like, I'm not even saying this to criticize, guys like Clark and Barber. It's just that once you get into a position of power, you are going to have fans get frustrated at you. You just are. Like, unless you win like 6 championships, and then you're a legend. Like, but seriously, you're going to have people frustrated because the team isn't winning enough, or, you're coaching, players turn on you and whatever. And then that becomes part of your memory. And then it gets papered over in the end, because then people want to remember the good. Like, wouldn't be surprised if in 10, 15 years, Ron Hextall rejoins the fold in some way. And, it's like, oh, Hextall's back. And we've forgotten the fact that ended real bad. But with Bernie, there was never that. There was just, he went from being player to coach, and then to just the community. And then he was just part of the community.
As long as the Penguins don't recover quickly, I have forgiven Ron.
You've forgiven Ron Hextall.
And listen, he's not going to be the GM when they get McKenna, so I don't have to, I don't get to blame him for that either. It's just like they stunk and then he got fired.
Yeah.
Great job, Hexy. So I think he will, I have forgiven him, but there was, we never had to do that with Bernie.
There was never like a reappraisal of
just
Bernie
like Bernie rules.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
He's the best, and he won us these championships, and now he's the coolest guy on earth.
Yeah.
He was basically the most interesting man in the world.
Yeah,
like,
it was kind of like the Dos Equis guy.
Like, he was the Dos Equis guy. Yeah. That was Bernie.
That's true.
And I guess if we're gonna bring that up, I guess it would be inappropriate not to be like, and he did suffer from alcoholism, and did overcome that, and was sober for years, leading up to his passing. Like, this was a guy who, like, okay, yeah, man, my career ended early. It's upsetting. I
imagine it's devastating.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not only does your career end earlier than it should have. Obviously, he has that eye injury that ended up being more serious than originally thought, but you have the knowledge that you were once the best.
The best.
You were the best at what you did, and then it's just gone. I can't imagine how hard that is for someone to take.
No, it's freaking impossible. But he was able to deal with that, and he was able to deal with his addiction, and we were all better off for it. And that made him more relatable as well.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
You're a guy who had a thing that I think most people at this point in time, like, somebody who's been to AA or NA or something, and now they're better off, and you can relate to it. And I think that made him even more like, oh, and he was a regular guy too.
Yeah.
He wasn't just a freaking superhero.
Yeah.
He was a normal guy who got some help and is better.
Yeah.
All right. We want to wrap up with all of the fan submissions and your super chats and all the comments, but we do have to take our next commercial. All right, it's time to tell you about our friends at Monarch Money, and I've been telling you for weeks now, I have spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to be better with my finances, not just put it all on my wife, not just be like, it'll be fine, don't worry about it, because that is how you get in a ton of financial trouble. And listen, there are no worse arguments in a relationship than money arguments, because like there's a right and a wrong. And if you're wrong, like you lose, you can't get your way out of that one. Financial trouble is real trouble. You get yourself out of it by learning more about your situation and fixing it. Well, that's what I have done with Monarch Money. Monarch Money is built for people with busy lives. If you've put off organizing your finances, like I had for so long, Monarch is for you because they do the heavy lifting. They link all your accounts and minutes, you'll get clear data and visuals and smart categorization of your spending and real control over your money. You won't leave any on the table, and it's not just a budgeting app. It's not just another finance app. It's a tool real professionals and experts actually love, and that's why it's been named the 2025 best budgeting app by the Wall Street Journal. Like it says, man, money can break up couples, and Monarch helps bring them together. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code PHLY at monarchmoney.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code PHLY. While we're here, it's time to tell you about Ace Hardware Home Services, because if you have that outlet you said you'd fix last summer, that your air conditioner's starting to make a weird noise, and like, we can get through. It's almost winter anyway. It doesn't matter. No. Stop putting off everything and stop watching YouTube tutorials. It's not going to make you an electrician overnight. Just go to Ace, because now Ace, they don't just have the tools and hardware to get the job done. They've got the person to do the job as well, from plumbing and electrical to heating and cooling. They've got the trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long. At Ace Hardware Home Services, they're bringing helpful home, the helpful you love, from the store now to your front door, from Philly to the Jersey Shore. Just visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. All right, let's check out some of these fan-submitted stories and photos and everything we have, because this is what made Bernie so freaking special. Was everybody has a Bernie story. Everybody got to meet him at some point, and I think it's important that we remember, like, he touched so many freaking lives. It's crazy to think, like, he was a goalie, but sports are different here, man, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
But like he's a very important person to a lot of people, who, even if you just had passing interactions with him. So let's check out a few of these. This one from Cam. It's a photo he got. It says, got to meet Bernie and Gary Dornhofer on my first visit to the Wells Fargo Center in 2013. Both were super kind and took time to speak with me, despite the fact that there was a line. And that's like, with Bernie, it was always as if he was actually interacting with you.
Yeah,
not just like a hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
What's your name? Here's your autograph. All right, see you later. Like, you would end up in a conversation with Bernie.
It felt personal,
and it was it was very real. That, I think that's a pretty universal experience with Bernie. So thanks for that, Cam. This one here, he says it's an old and blurry photo from Christopher. But Bernie was always the nicest and most positive guy. When you met him a few carnivals, and always heard him saying it's a beautiful thing with the French accent. It was always a pleasure. He'll truly be missed. And yeah, his positivity was almost bothersome. He was just one of those people that's always in a good mood. I'm like, why?
Just like jovial.
Yeah, just
gregarious.
Jovial is such a good word for it. And that's just the way it was. And yeah, he did say, I think that was the name of his boat, A Beautiful Thing.
Was it?
I believe that's what it was.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that, and it was like his catchphrase. So it would make sense that he also had it on the side of his boat. From Dylan O'Brien. This is my grandma. Oh, this is so good. My grandma was friends with him back when they were back when he was playing. And some of her coworkers and managers were constantly picking on her for claiming she knows him. So Bernie came into the office one day and told the manager off right in front of everybody. His passing hit her hard.
Imagine being that manager. I feel like you have to you have to resign on the spot.
What do you do?
You've lost all authority.
You have no
in the
authority.
Like Bernie Perrant, the goaltender of the Broad Street Bullies, walked into the office that you are trying to manage and is like, "You suck."
I would love to know what this job was like. Does Bernie or the grandmother now become the manager? Like, one of them now has a claim to the job, I think, because that person has lost all authority, and it's either Bernie or the grandmom has to then be manager. Imagine he's like, now Bernie's like the office manager. It's like,
I'm the captain now.
Yes, exactly. Very much, I'm the captain now. It's like you show up at work every day and it's just Bernie. He's in charge.
Yep.
That would be a tremendous job.
No, that's
the office.
That's a fantastic story.
That's really good.
A really cool story. And it just, again, like, we're talking about Bernie in his playing days.
He took the time to go do that.
Yeah.
I would assume it's the summer. But who knows? This could have been
during the season.
On one of his 5 off days. Who knows? It could have been.
Right.
It could have easily been then too. All right. Let's see another one here. This one from Dylan Robillard. My father and I met Bernie and his wife in Edmonton at a card expo. He loved my father's Blazers mask and jersey. The canvas in the photo hangs in my room, and I gave Bernie his own copy. Jeannie loved it, loved the design, and told me she'd keep it with her. He was the most genuine person I've ever met, and so kind-hearted. And that was, again, genuine. Genuine is a word you are going to hear a ton in any and all memorializations of Bernie Perrant this week and going forward.
Yeah, it was just cool to have and we spent the first part of the show talking about just how good he was. Just how good of a player he was, that he may have had one of the, if not the best goaltending season of all time. And it would have been very easy for someone like that to give off the vibe of being better than you, of I'm too good to, to talk to fans. I'm too good to just, sit at a chair and walk the concourse and shake hands and have conversations. It would have been very easy for him to just have that idea of himself that, like, these fans want to talk to me. I'm Bernie Perrant. He was never like that.
No. He was, in fact, I think he may have loved his ambassador job and getting to interact with fans and do, Ed Snyder hockey stuff more than he enjoyed playing. And he freaking loves telling you how good he was. Yeah. Like he has no problem being like, "Oh no, I was awesome." But I think he enjoyed this part even more.
It's very possible. It's very possible, to be sure.
All right, let's see. We have a few more of these from Jake, the Flyers fan. When Bryn's laughing, I know it's going to be a good one. A few years ago, my dad was running the Flyers charity 5K and sent a selfie of himself crossing the finish line saying, I beat Bernie Perrant in a race. And sure enough, Bernie was in the background of the picture, finishing a few seconds after my dad. And I would just like to know the ages at this point.
That's fair. Yeah. Because if it was a few years, is a few years like 15 years ago? Or is a few years like 5 years ago and he was 75 doing a 5K?
Because I can't imagine doing a 5K now. Like, Bernie was a senior citizen and also suffered through many injuries of just like the life of a goalie is, man, your back's going to hurt.
Seriously.
That's just every goalie ever. Your back is going to hurt when you're done.
Yep.
And this guy's running 5Ks. I'm proud of your dad, though, beating him in the race. You'd want to beat him rather than finish behind him, I would think.
Yeah. You have the opportunity. And also if you have 10 years
on him. Yeah. No, absolutely. But that's again, we're talking about a guy who's he's just passed away at 80. He's been active in these sorts of things leading up to now.
Yeah.
Running the 5K because man, Bernie Perrant's going to be there. All right. Next one here from Kristen. My friends and I had a suite in Bernie. Bob Kelly and Dave Schultz came in and spent some time with us. It was a game against the Penguins. I'll never forget Bernie throwing playful jabs with a smile on his face while Schultz was legit trash talking the Penguins.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to make clear, honestly, the Broad Street Bullies group as a whole,
awesome.
They're really good people.
Yes.
They're really, really good people, and they they are fine with interacting with fans.
Yeah, 100%.
It was just that, like, Bernie was such a good player. And I'm not saying, like, Dave Schultz and Bob Kelly weren't good players, but, like, Bernie's an all-time NHL great, and he still was like that.
Hall of Famer, 2 Vezinas, 2 Conn Smythes. Like, I don't know what else I need to say.
Yeah.
And it's always, here's the thing, all these stories, it's like, oh, it was Bernie and Dorney, it's Bernie and Bob Kelly, Dave Schultz. Bernie is the constant. And like, it's not as if like Hound isn't around a ton. Like, it's like 100%. But I just feel like I've seen Bernie at every Flyers related thing I have done in my life as a fan or member of the media. Like that's just the way it seems. All right. Yeah, we have another one here from Lightning. I played a round of golf with Bernie. It was a birthday present from my wife. I asked him, what is going through your mind during the Stanley Cup games? And he answered, just let in one less than the other guy. And he gives me the classic Bernie smile.
Well, that's exactly what happened in the clinching game of the Boston series. They win 1-0.
Maybe this is the problem with goaltending coaching. What if it's that simple?
What if it's just that easy?
Like all these coaches, like Tim Dillabaugh sitting here trying to teach Ivan Fedotov, like, all right, this is how you cut down the angle, and this is how you look through the screen. And Bernie's just sitting there telling like rookie Pelly and rookie Ron Hextall, like, I don't know, man, just stop it. Like, get in front of it.
Well,
what if it's that simple?
I have to imagine, and this is something, honestly, from a coaching standpoint, that we're seeing more and more of. It plays into one of the big reasons why John Tortorella is no longer the head coach of the Flyers. I do feel like coaches these days are being, whether they are doing it willingly or just being dragged into the modern era, but like they're more positive and they're more like, let's build guys up rather than break them down. Look, I don't know how Bernie Perrant operated as a coach, but based on my interactions with him and based upon his personality, I'm guessing he probably went the positivity route and the encouragement route over the I'm going to tear you down and build you back up route.
I can't imagine. And again, yeah, like I only knew Bernie in his post-playing days well after he was a coach. But like, again, his catchphrase was, it's a beautiful thing. I can't imagine him MFing guys. Like, up and down, just MFing dudes. Like, yeah, that's not something I can picture. So what if he was one of the original? It is crazy how nice these guys all are, and they were violent maniacs on the ice. Like every single one of them was nice. But yeah, maybe coaching is that simple. Let in one less than the other guy, and suddenly, like, yeah, man, we got all these like Calder winning goalies. Conn Smythe winning goalies. What if it was that easy? All right. I think we have another one. Okay. From Nick DeCristo says, took my son to meet Bernie 2 years ago. He had just started to play goalie and was so excited to meet the best goalie in Flyers history.
That's such a good picture.
And that's a great picture. He always gave the 2 thumbs up to show off the rings. Yeah. That was like a constant in his pictures. Because again, yeah, well,
hey, he won them.
We did.
There's a big reason why they got both.
They are like he has as much claim to those rings as freaking anybody. But that's like one of the things I loved is like he was so proud of those rings, winning the Stanley Cup like 50 years later. It was still the greatest thing to him, and hell yeah, man, hell yeah. All right, it's great your son got to meet him. We met Bernie before practice this spring at Iceworks.
This year.
Yeah, like he's hanging out and like it's Iceworks. It's not the Flyers training center. Yeah. He's just around.
Yeah, he's just around.
He was so nice to my son and asked him a few questions. Just a friendly, pleasant man that always had time for fans. Will definitely be missed. Yeah, okay, so it's like little Flyers or something.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But that's so freaking cool.
It's really cool.
Just like, yeah.
Another great picture.
Just gonna, these are good.
And he's just like, you can just see in his face too. You can also see in the kid's face, but he just looks so happy. He's so happy. He's so genuinely happy to be there.
Like we're talking, this kid wasn't even born for the alumni game.
Yeah, right.
Which is really upsetting to me. But and he is so freaking happy to meet this guy. That's like the bridging of the gap is, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Do we have any more? From Chris Duran? It says, met him after a speaking engagement a few years ago, shook my hand, grabbed my shoulder like we were lifelong friends. Oh, he'd manhandle you. 100%. I worked some events with WIP when I was a producer there, and he just needed to get my attention for something. And yeah, he'd grab a hold of you. Nothing like Gargano, because Gargano, I'm pretty sure, could play offensive line in the NFL.
Probably.
But Bernie had no problem just being personal. And that's what made him so freaking special. All right, before we get to, I think we have a couple of super chats. Couple of things I want to run by you. First, this is really it, I think. We'll do is the sports quiz still going on too? Do I need to do that as well? All right. We have the what is this thing? What am I? Okay, yeah, the ultimate PHLY sports quiz. I just lost my place and decided
we're in Bernie mode.
I'm not going to be professional.
We're in Bernie.
Yeah, the ultimate PHLY sports quiz. Check it out, allphly.com/quiz. There's 5 different quizzes, one for each team, and then a mystery one to round it all out. And the winner, the first, I think, 3 people to get all 5 quizzes 100%, win an Amazon gift card. And we're going to have a leaderboard. It's going to be in the daily newsletter that goes out every day. And if you're not signed up for the newsletter, I don't know what you're doing. It's freaking awesome.
It's really good.
So make sure you do that. And we also would like to tell you to take our survey. That's right. Just go to allphly.com/survey and tell us what you think. And you get a chance to win a gift card as well. Listen, we love how much interaction everyone has with us, and we want to keep growing. We want to keep doing the best shows that you all want to check out. The best way for us to do that is ask you what it is you want. So just go to allphly.com/survey, fill out the survey, and you will be entered for a chance to win a gift card. It is that simple. Help us keep the lights on and help us keep making the content you want us to make. It's really that easy. All right, let's hit some of these super chats. I think we have a couple.
Yeah, we have a few.
All right, from Adam S. He says, Habs suck, go Flyers. Of course, Montreal wins in 76 because no Bernie. I think it's really just that simple.
I think it is that simple. Yeah.
Adam keeping his streak going of super chats.
Yep.
All right. Let's hit Gary B. Gary B says, R.I.P. Bernie, Philly loves and will always miss you.
Yeah, I think that is one thing, and I think I put it in my article, but like, Bernie may no longer be on this earth, but he's never going to be forgotten. Like,
no.
He is going to be, his spirit is going to be part of the Flyers community forever. It's like Ed Snyder. It's like Ed Snyder may not be here anymore, but how often do we say the name Ed Snyder on this show?
Yeah, all the time.
Multiple times a week.
The Stanley Cup banners are in the rafters. His number 1 in the rafters. Is the statues outside of Bullies, right?
Yes.
It's outside of Bullies. Bernie will always be part of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
All right. From Linden 49 says, this is a tough one, guys. Those 2 years were, there we go. Those 2 years were magical times, led by 16-1. Only the Lord saves more than Bernie. R.I.P. my man. Another bully gone. And it is. We are getting further and further away from that time period. Yeah. And that's a bummer. Yeah. I mean, it's been 50 years since the Stanley Cup. We're going on to season, I guess this will be season 50, but 51 years right. Because of the lockout. But yeah, man, it sucks.
Yeah.
All right. And last one here from Gregarious Gray. Great show, guys. Thank you. Yeah,
we did our best.
We definitely wanted to do our best. Listen, we didn't. Again, it's not as if we get firsthand accounts of Bernie, but we did get to interact with him several times. Yeah. I've got to meet him a ton of times, and
we both grew up Flyers fans.
And yeah, I mean, you couldn't grow up a Flyers fan, regardless. And it was well before our time, and Flyers fans yet to be born will also be told of the legend of Bernie.
Yeah.
Hopefully not as the only champion ever.
Hopefully there will be another.
But as of now, if you want to talk about the glory days of the Philadelphia Flyers, there's one guy who was between the pipes, and it was Bernie. All right, before we get out of here, just want to remind you all to hit the like button. I know this wasn't like our regular show, but I think it was a pretty cool show. Just give us a thumbs up, and we'd really appreciate it. And in the spirit of Bernie being an awesome guy, maybe you want to help out, be cool as well. Well, it is still Big Brothers Big Sisters month here all across the All City Network. if you can make a donation, please, we would love for you to make a donation. You can do so right here, right below the chat box on our YouTube page. You can see where it says donate now, and boom, you get, you can do that, or go to bbbs.org and see maybe if you have the time and inclination, if you could be a big brother, big sister mentor for some youth out there who could just maybe use a little bit more one-on-one time. It would be greatly appreciated if you did either of those things. Support big brothers, big sisters here during this month. All right.
So there was a preseason game last night.
Yeah,
we will talk about it on tomorrow's show in the lead up to the second preseason game. This show just felt like it should be entirely about Bernie Parada.
The stream, Bernie was far more important than preseason game number 1 that they didn't even think should be on TV. Like priorities. Bernie, 1.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right. And that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers today. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Follow us right here on YouTube. Follow us on all the socials. We're at PHLY_Flyers on Twitter. And follow the podcast as well. All right. I'm Bill Matz. That's Charlie O'Connor. Till tomorrow, be excellent to each other.
We all silly like the mayor.